Hi, folks. For anyone who's joined us so far, we are here celebrating the release day for Laurie's new book. I don't think anyone's stuck around long enough to figure out what this is all about, but nonetheless, here we are. Here we are talking about things. Um, I did just load your book up on my.
Oh, it's backwards.
Oh, it is.
I made a sign.
You can flip your. No, wait, you can't.
I can't.
There's like a filter. There's a mirror filter that you can put on. That would. You have to learn new things, Laurie. I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry.
No,
See, like,
don't make me.
because this is backwards here, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
but my book,
But well,
my little book cover isn't.
that's different.
That's a graphic. I did a newborn photo shoot.
Oh no, I love it. I love it.
It was a scarf. I had a scarf that looked enough like a blanket, and I wrapped my book in the scarf and I put it on a really soft blanket and I took pictures under my fancy photo lights. And I had this sign, which isn't backwards in reality. I went to Michael's and it was like $4 with a coupon. And I put the name and the release date and how much it weighed, which was 9.75 ounces.
Oh no, I think it's great. The whole birth announcement photo shoot
He's my
for a book.
baby.
I've seen a lot of book announcements, and I have to say, I don't actually think I've seen anyone do that yet.
I saw someone do it with like her dissertation, I think.
Well, yeah, but that's just because PhD candidates are insane.
You have to be. You can't get through, like, you might be sane at the beginning, but you'll be insane by the end.
Yeah, we're all. What's it? There's like was it a Mad Hatterism, which I suppose is appropriate, like
It's
given
appropriate.
the topic, but like
It's the Cheshire Cat.
oh, we're all mad here. Yes, yeah. So yeah,
I had that as my phone case
it's an Alice in
for a while.
Wonderland-ism, at least.
Yeah. I had that as my phone case, but it was the Cheshire Cat saying we're all mad here, and then Alice saying, at me?
Oh my God. I don't think there's anything that gives more like recovered people pleaser adult children of emotionally immature parents as at me. It's like, are we all mad at me?
At me? Yeah. No, that you must be mad or you wouldn't be here is yeah. You might have to be a little crazy to like my book.
No.
But no. I talked to someone this afternoon who read it in one sitting and really loved it and had all these questions and was like, okay, well I can answer some of them.
Some of them, not all of them.
I want to keep some mysteries for the rest of the series because there's mysteries and there's more plot coming because there's at least 2 more books.
You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma.
Wrapped in bacon.
Yeah. I want to make it like I am so far from kosher, but I feel regardless that deserves a kosher joke.
Mm.
But yes, so no one's here but us, so we are.
Oh, really?
No, but the good news is
okay.
We would talk to ourselves about this anyway. I don't think
it'll go on YouTube later.
Yeah, I mean it could. It might. I mean, Barbara just joined, but Barbara already left. You never know.
Oh, wow. We'll just scare everyone away.
I don't think, see, that's the funny thing is I do not know what makes for a live that works. Because it's not about necessarily, it's mostly, this is going to sound terrible, but like, it's mostly about getting enough people to join and tap. So if you haven't noticed, tap your screen with your finger.
It brings up settings.
Oh, sorry. Tap my face.
Okay. It made a heart. And then a bunch of other stuff happened.
Keep tapping it and just keep tapping it for forever. that may bring people because
Oh, it's so cute.
it's, I mean, number one, it's a
Hey, Donald Sutherland, I love your work.
it's a dopamine dispenser, for
It
one.
is.
Also, it used to just be hearts, and at least recently they had changed it to be a bunch of different things. So like as you
Mm.
slap that button, it changes the icon to be like different things.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, the more popular a live is, the more liked it is, the more it like pushes it out on the algorithm.
Mm.
So you know, there's that.
Okay. I
Uh,
was I was so excited today because my book went live and I got to see like how many people have like ordered it. Oh, 6 whole people ordered my book.
that's
Like, all right.
that's great. How many of those were pre-orders?
I think all of them. I don't know.
Okay.
I think they were all pre-orders. I'm not sure because I don't know how to read the statistics. It was
Oh,
like a flat line with a spike and then flat line again. Like someone who's barely alive.
hmm.
That's my book.
I mean, that's most books. Like just to put it in perspective, and for again, for those of you just joining us, or for those of you watching this later, when I post it as a very mediocre podcast, um, it's rough out there right now for everyone.
It's
Uh,
horrible
uh,
because the world is ending and we're writing books.
and you know, it's consumption of art is one of those things that's done either as leisure or in desperation. And right now, it's more desperation for those who can stomach not just like watching the world burn. And the
This
economy is not
is
in a good place, and people are not doing well when it comes to like work and stuff. And so like sales are uh really just tanked right now for everyone. Like I'm in a lot of different author spaces, and every day I see someone posting, "Hey, I was doing real good on Kindle unlimited page reads for, up through the new year, and then things just got real bad after that." Is that
I
happening
wonder
to
why.
anyone else? And the answer is yes, it's happening to everybody else.
It's almost like something really weird happened in January that just made everyone really sad.
Yeah, it's almost like
Well,
the darkest timeline happened and then no one's buying our books.
crazy. Well, we offer escapism because while I do write contemporary fantasy, technically my book happens in a world that has fairies in it. Like not everybody knows about them, but like my headcanon is that this is a different planet. I don't like it's an alternate Earth because I don't mention who's president there, but on my version of Earth, it's not that guy. it's, it's
Hey,
not because it's a much happier place. So,
Lenicia, a fantastic narrator, has actually joined us. So, hi, Lenicia.
hey,
Yeah, so what's going on? We're Caffeinated Terrier Press. It's the imprint that myself and our authors co-op uses for publishing our books. Uh, you see to my right, I assume, unless it's swapped us somewhere, but to my you see that Laurie Neilsen, who is a fantastic debut author, her book Down the Rabbit Hole, Liminal Spaces Book One, has released today. It's a brand new release. It just came out today. Lori, tell Lenicia, our fantastic friend here, what your book's about.
it's about a woman who learns that she's descended from the Fae. She finds out in her early 30s that she is part of a small percentage of the population that have Fae DNA, that once upon a time, the fairy world and the mortal world, what we would call the real world, were a lot easier to travel between, and now they can only be accessed through liminal spaces, places where time feels altered and strange. and about one in every 1,000 people has some Fey DNA and some kind of interesting qualities or powers or traits. And she is, in fact, a banshee, and there are not a lot of them. The person who finds her and teaches her all of this stuff wasn't even 100% sure that banshee were real. Banshee is the plural. It's like moose or sheep or fish, um,
So it's not
which
banshees.
is not banshees. No, the plural of banshee is banshee. At least I decided it was. And she finds this out after her best friend dies. Like page one is her best friend reaching out to her from beyond the grave, and in the process of learning about all of this stuff, she's also investigating the death of her friend because they say it was an aneurysm, but she doesn't fully believe that it wasn't caused by her friend's boyfriend, who is sketchy AF. So it's those two things going on at the same time, and it's mystical, it's wonderful, it's there's a mystery, and it's weird. And she's a photographer, and it takes place in coastal Connecticut, and it's fun and sarcastic and irreverent, and yeah.
Did you mention that it was inspired at least?
Oh, and yes, and it was it was inspired. It's inspired by Alice in Wonderland, which down the rabbit hole, yeah. And it's the first of at least 3 books.
I like the at least 3 books. It's funny, and like people ask authors all the time, um, how many books is this series going to be? And the answer is stop asking me questions. Uh, but we almost never know unless we're our friend Dave, and then he knows, and the answer is like
Yeah.
15 books. But we don't really know. We have an idea, right? We have this concept. We think, okay, maybe this has got 3 stories in it. So I'll think about 3 books. But the
Mhm.
reality is you may, in the process of writing the second one, think of 2 more. You never know. So I like that you're not like have it set in your mind that it's definitely going to be 3 books or definitely going to
Mhm.
be 10 books. You're just gonna kind of see where it takes you, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like each book is inspired by a different story in the fantasy genre. So, first book, Alice in Wonderland. The second book is inspired by Labyrinth, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's not a thriller so much. I don't think I
Well,
could call it a thriller. I don't know.
so
Uh,
I'm gonna jump in
you
to add some commentary here
you go
because
right ahead.
your books are kind of similar to my books in that they
Mm-hmm.
incorporate multiple elements. So
Mm,
we both write contemporary fantasy, which is the overall umbrella for that includes urban fantasy. However,
mm-hmm.
most urban fantasies are not strictly fantasies, right? They
Right.
often have other elements to them. Um, it may be that it features some romance elements. It may be that it
Mm-hmm.
features some police procedural elements. It may be that it includes some thriller elements. If it's a murder mystery, then it does take tropes from thriller books. And so, yes, thriller. There we go. So it's not a thriller, but that's not the intention of the book.
Yeah.
It I will say I'm going to be a little tongue in cheek about this. There's a very well thought out review on Goodreads about this book. It's oh, you just got a batty bat.
Who? How? How? I
Lenicia
don't
sent you
understand this
a batty bat.
technology. It's so cute. I want
And
it
so
forever.
perfect on All Hallows Pre Eve,
Halloween.
Halloween. Uh, so yeah, yeah. So there's the way, and I wrote the review, so it's me. I'm the but I'm
Oh,
not
it's
gonna
so well thought out. It's so cerebral. It's
I'm
some of
not
the
going to
best.
talk about other people's reviews because I never want people to think that I'm calling them out for writing reviews, you know? But in
Mm-hmm.
my review, I it's the book is a journey of self-discovery, but along
Yeah.
the way it's a murder mystery because Alice
Hmm.
has suspicions and then investigates them, which is like the definition of
Okay. Yeah.
a lot of those kinds of things. So it's always hard to pigeonhole an urban fantasy because it's almost never just a fantasy. There's something about it, especially because it's involves the cities that it's in, which is why so many urban fantasies include like a detective or bounty hunter or some kind of investigative element, you know?
Yeah. Really, she's just a photographer who's in over her head. But okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But she's investigating. Yeah. But
but
it's
she's not a photojournalist, just to be super clear.
That's true. She's a real estate photographer. You know what it is? Because I listened to Piano Man too many times and I was like, what the hell is a real estate novelist? Okay, I'm going to become one.
I'm sorry. Is that a line in Piano Man?
Yeah, if somebody's a real estate novelist in Piano Man.
What is a
And I'm
real
like,
estate?
what the
What
fuck
is a
is a real
real
estate
estate
novelist?
novelist?
I'm guessing it's someone who writes novels about real estate. So I'm like, well, I worked for 20 years as a catalog photographer, but the whole time, like anytime I had anything upsetting happen at work, I was like, what could I do instead of this job? And I'd start to look at other things. And at one point I was like, I wonder what real estate photography is like. I could finally go in all the mansions. So I literally like I spent so much time daydreaming about like what if I were a real estate photographer and I could go in all these giant beautiful mansions that are everywhere in the area where I live. Wouldn't it be so great? So that's part of why like that's what she does. She takes pictures of these amazing um of these amazing giant houses cuz I used to drive around with my friends and look at these amazing giant houses and just dream about like going inside them, having like a reason to go into these disgustingly huge houses.
So I need to pause for just 1 second to acknowledge some other folks who have joined. So number
Mhm.
one, your friend and my partner Kat is there adding some
Yes.
commentary. So thank you for joining, Kat.
Hi,
But
Kat.
also Kara Blaine, another fantastic indie author. So we've got Lenicia, a fantastic
Oh,
narrator.
sweet.
We've got Kara, a fantastic other indie author, here to celebrate the release of Down the Rabbit Hole by Laurie Neilsen. Hey, Kara. So yeah, this is Laurie's
I need to be able to
debut
find them and follow them
novel.
if I'm not already following them.
Oh yes, please do. Everyone needs to follow everyone
Yay.
else. Because this is we're follow for follow culture. That's it's all that or nothing. Uh,
Yes.
well
It is
well
not at all an Alice retelling. It just has
it is inspired
elements of the
by.
Alice in Wonderland story, inspired by. So the main character is named Alice. There's characters based on the White Rabbit, the Mad Hatter, the Caterpillar. The character based on the Caterpillar is also based on Ben. Um, there's a rabbit hole. There's a hole. It's a portal.
Well, and a rabbit goes in
There are
it.
some singing flowers, and a rabbit goes in it. Because the character based on the White Rabbit is a rabbit Puka, but he's not white. Um, there's there's a scene with singing flowers. Like I put in little scenes that are like, you know, when they're in the Goblin Market. There's the it's like daffodil, violet, rose, and they're singing, and then they get scary for a second because it's weird. Um, but yeah, it's stuff like that. Like it's inspired by it, and just like in the second book, it's inspired by Labyrinth. So there's going to be it takes place in New York City. Most of it takes place in the subway system and the tunnels underneath New York City. So it's called Underground because each title has a direction in it. So this is down the rabbit hole. The next one's Underground, and the one after that is inspired by Wizard of Oz. So that's Over the Rainbow, and also because it happens during June, it happens during Pride Month. So uh, it's got to be Wizard of Oz, and there's going to be some Friends of Dorothy in it.
So I want you to tell us though because I know that some of the so a lot of the characters are based on more traditional Fey mythology and
Mm-hmm.
specifically one of the characters that gets a decent amount of play, I will say, is based on the Knockers.
Yes.
Um, can you talk to folks a little bit about your choices as far as which kind of Fey mythos to include alongside the Alice in Wonderland in inspirations?
Yeah, I did a fair amount of research. I've always been fascinated by fairies. A lot of it comes from, you know, World of Darkness. So I've been LARPing for a really long time. That's part of me and Ben go way back. We went to school together, and we used to LARP together a whole bunch. Yeah, we met back in fall of 1999, and we've been friends since. Let's just pretend. Look, I also use the fact that I look a lot younger than I am. That's a Fey trait. So a lot of it's based on me as a person. But yeah, so a lot of it, some of it, the inspiration came from World of Darkness, specifically Changeling the Dreaming. And two of the characters that I played a lot were Knockers and Puka because they're fun. But I've also looked into the actual mythology behind them of Puka being trickster spirits and the Knockers being like a Welsh legend, also called I think it was Coblynau, that basically they live in mines and they're often, benevolent spirits that would warn miners if a mine was about to collapse. They would knock on the walls, and that would be a sound that miners would hear before something dangerous was about to happen. Like if a mine was about to collapse, they would hear this knocking sound on the walls, and they'd know. Mining is huge in Wales. In some parts of Wales, it's like the only job you could get is like coal mining or whatever. So the stories of the Knockers go way back in there, and other places, where mining is a thing. Stories like the Knockers are frequent because you hear weird noises when you dig underground. So that's kind of where those stories come from. So these specific Knockers are more of that type than what you find in White Wolf in World of Darkness. They're short. They mine and they get the metals, and then that's like it's very gendered in their specific culture. The ones that I put together is the men do the mining, and then the women are like alchemists and they make the things. So all of these wonderful devices, all of these interesting trinkets, and I can make any kind of magical devices I need as far as what serves the story can come from these alchemists. And there's going to be a little more in-depth kind of exploration as to what alchemists are and what they can do in the second book. And
Mm.
we're going to see more of the female knocker, Ahiri. That's going to come up more. She's going to have a lot more. I guess it's not screen time, page time. She's going to have more time in the second book. I really
Airtime.
liked her. Airtime. She's going to be there some more in the second book.
I also really liked Ahiri. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a good characterization. But I always talking about other gaming systems and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Knockers always had a very gnomish
Mm-hmm.
tinkerer kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe to them, which I always loved. So I mean also you know me, I played a knocker back in the day.
Yeah, I'm
And so
I'm playing one
yeah.
currently.
So I did like your characterization of Ahiri and her
Yeah,
husband, and that was
yeah.
very enjoyable. And honestly, that's one of the things is urban fantasy tends to be very character driven and very much about the
Mm-hmm.
relationships between people and those interactions. Like yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice when there's where there's some action and some intrigue, but there's a reason why I think so many people are into cozier books these days, not just because the world's on fire and we all need some comfort, but like cozier books don't rely on the crutch of having a ton of action to carry the book. You actually have
Right.
to focus on dialogue and characterization and interpersonal
Mhm.
relationships without, oh, and this is where the fight scene happens. This is where I get 3 chapters of battle scenes, you know?
Yeah. I I will admit there's going to be more action in the second book than there is in the first, because the first is so much exposition. It's so much like world building and just introducing you through Alice to what this world is like because she didn't grow up with it like Jay did. The character who's introducing her to all of this grew up in a town of Puka, like that he lived it his whole life. And now he's finding her, and she's gone all this time without even knowing who she is. So she's learning later in life who she is, but there's a lot of exposition. And then like a little bit of action. There is action, and it's a little bit scary, but it's mostly very cozy. So I wanted that cozy feeling. I wanted to put in all of those scenes of like, she goes to her favorite, her favorite, how do you say it, hero, gyro
Euro.
place. It's Hero because the name of the restaurant is I Need a Hero,
Okay.
and I'm like, I want this place to exist, but that's kind of based on the place that we went the last time we got food around here. But like I just want to I want to name restaurants. I want to. There's yeah, the Walrus and the Carpenter end up in the book too because there's the restaurant where pigs fly, which they don't even eat at in the book, but I wanted to have a walrus and a carpenter in there, so I put in an oyster bar called Where When Pigs Fly. So it's just little things like that. I just wanted a cozy little world that you could get lost in, which the guy I talked to this afternoon was like, I just got lost in this world and I just wanted to stay there. And I'm like, yeah, I also want to stay in that world. I don't want to be in this one. So I like writing it because I can just kind of ease into that world and kind of forget I'm in this one for a little while. So,
I
and I
I
like
want to
it.
I want to take us on a slightly sideways journey because you said something and it made me think about this because the same thing kind of happened to me. So talk about, so you're writing the second book currently,
Mhm. Mhm.
and writing a second book in a series is always different because we get to kind of jump right into the story. There's much
Mm.
less introduction of the base characters because theoretically we're at least starting off mostly where we left off as far as what we would expect cast of characters. You're going to introduce new things as you go, but like you said, you get to kind of dive right into it. And
Mhm.
how are you finding that as an experience writing your second book versus writing your first one?
It feels like hitting the ground running. Like the first book took so long to write because over half the writing was research and writing notes. Like it took a year and a half to write the first book, at least, at least a year and a half, because so much of it was just writing my notes, making up character names, deciding what are the knockers going to be like? How are they going to not be like they are in a White Wolf? How much are they going to be like folklore? What's this other folklore? Reading through, I have like 3 different books that are like Brian Froud, who's the designer from like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and all of that stuff. So a lot of that inspiration went into this as well. And like looking at those, and then okay, so this is what trolls are like here. This is what dwarves are like here, and then reading about all of the mythology, and so much of it was research and just I have pages and pages and pages of notes. And this time I made some notes definitely for like, which things go into the plot for the second one and which new things are being introduced, which new concepts. But I just basically just sat down and started writing and didn't write as many notes really compared with the first one. It really was just like, to crack the knuckles metaphorically and just start writing, and it was refreshing because the first time was just I mean, it was fun to write, but it felt like a lot of homework. Like just it felt almost like a research paper, almost like a thesis, because there was so much research. And like I And every now and then I'd have a thought, like as I was falling asleep, I'd be like, and pixies are like this. I gotta write this on my phone. Okay, I'm gonna write on my phone. Open up Google Docs. Okay, pixies. And now this time I'm just like, okay, all my ideas are plot based, so it's going so much faster.
Yeah, I will say though, like don't be down on yourself for the first book having taken, a year and a half, because compared to some authors, that's fast, especially
Oh
for
yeah,
a debut novel, because that's was like soup to nuts. Which for the record, that's a saying that that the youth doesn't understand these days. So for any
I
of
don't
you
think I
who,
know what soup to nuts means.
wow, okay, Laurie,
Look, I am a very literal person. Is it about courses?
it
It
is,
like a meal,
it
like a
is,
so many course meal. You
yeah,
start with soup,
and you
and
end with
eventually,
nuts.
when the hell do you eat nuts?
It's just in a very it's at the very end. There's these little dishes with nuts. I don't know. I don't look. I didn't
For
make the
squirrels?
rules.
Okay.
I didn't make the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the rules. So, but soup to nuts. It took you a year and a half, but that includes
Mm-hmm.
like you wrote it, you edited it again, you
I
had a
did.
couple readers, you took some feedback, you made some revisions, and then
Oh.
you published
And
it.
I made the dumb mistake of almost every time I sat down to read more, I started at the beginning of the book and I read the whole thing and then I wrote more.
Oh
Not
yes,
every time,
yeah,
but I did it a lot. And I told you, and you were like, stop doing that.
yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I'm pretty sure my words were fucking quitted.
So now the most I will do when I sit down to write more is I'll start at the beginning of the chapter that I'm writing to remember where I am, which is good because I've almost had characters say the same thing they just said on the page before.
Hmm.
So now I'm avoiding that by at least looking at what I read. When are there nuts ever? I don't. I've never had a nut course, but it sounds really bad when you say that out loud, and I didn't think it would sound that bad until I said it.
This isn't that kind of show.
I'm not a squirrel. I Nuts are what you have like in the living room at your aunt's house when you go there for Christmas.
In the little wooden bowls.
In the little wooden bowls. A few
Yep.
years before you stop talking to her because she's crazy. But anyway, um, I got a big family. I can afford to stop talking to half of them. But
So you're how far into writing book two are you?
I'm almost a fifth of the way through book two already because book two I broke into 5 acts when I laid it out, and I'm almost through the first act already. So it is going fast.
Fantastic, fantastic. Looking forward to seeing that eventually. And I say that in that's just sincerity. The eventually isn't tongue in cheek. It's just it's in. I feel like the second book is an inevitability just because
Oh yeah.
you're coming at it very strongly.
This is
Um,
no Winds of Winter. It will happen. You're going to see it.
I think I said this last time we talked. If there's anyone who's going to finish a series, it's an indie author, because
Mm,
we're not beholden to anybody but ourselves to make the book happen,
mhm,
and we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait some kind of magical period before putting out the second one, or we don't have to get anyone's approval. We don't have to sell it
mhm.
to our publisher. We don't have to. And Kara here, Kara knows. I'd see the hundreds. Kara knows what we're talking about. Uh, yeah, I feel like if you're going to be going for a complete series, and this is the funny thing is because there's a lot of readers that will not start reading a book if it is part of an incomplete series. But
This book
again,
stands alone, though. Like, you don't,
it
this book
does.
stands alone just fine.
It does. I mean, my first book stands alone. The
Oh,
first
yeah, totally.
the new book that I just put out, which for the record, I feel like I can at least plug myself a tiny bit because my book came out 2 days ago. Um, so
Yeah.
my latest book, Let Sleeping Gods Lie, is intended to be a series starter, but also stands alone. If I never wrote another
Oh,
book
yeah.
in that series, it ends in a satisfying way,
Hmm.
and you wouldn't like you wouldn't really cry for the loss of it,
Yeah.
if there wasn't another one, even though it's intended to be. But there are still people who will not read. Thank you, Kara. There are
Thank you.
people who will not pick up a book if it is part of a like. There's a reason that my book doesn't say book one of the Corbin Pierce Chronicles yet, is because I don't want to do
Right.
that until I have the second one. It's a perfectly valid choice. I did it for my other series, and I labeled it as book one.
Hmm.
But just know that some people aren't gonna pick that up, knowing that it's part of a series that's incomplete yet. But I
That's
really
fine.
feel
I don't
like it's a weird thing to refuse to gamble on, because, again, I feel like indie authors are more likely to come through clutch than, your trad published authors who you literally won't see a book from other than once a year at best. Even the most
care. Hmm.
prolific trad authors right now, I think, come from an indie background. Like, we see
Mm.
things from Matt Dinneman with Dungeon Crawler Carl on a release schedule that I think probably makes traditional publishers cry inside, because he's putting out at least a book a year. And I'm sure they're happy for it, but at the same time, like, how many years has it been since we saw a book by a terribly famous trad author that people have been waiting for stuff for years?
Mm.
Sorry, I just stepped right up on the soapbox and I couldn't be
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah. Kind of just went there.
I
That's
did.
okay.
I did.
You have a lot to say.
I've got a lot of feelings about this, Laurie. I
Just
do.
have, hang on. Hang on. She doesn't even go here. Okay. Ugh, sorry. No, it's yeah, I mean, and we can't all be Dave, but
Yes. Our,
I mean,
our friend
it's
Dave,
not.
who reliably writes at least 3,000 words a day, and we love
Yep.
slash hate him.
I name check him at the very end. Like I have the acknowledgments at the beginning of the book and then the thank yous at the end, and I said something about being a little scared of Dave. Um, yeah, he writes a ridiculous amount, and I don't know how he does it. But yeah, I mean, there are days when I don't write at all, and there are days when I only write like 300 words. But a lot of that lately has just been because I've been doing all this promotional stuff for this book and trying, all the logistics of getting it out. But now that that's mostly done, I'll still be doing some promotional, of course, because I want people to read it. But I mean, it might take like 6 months to get the next one out, but I don't think it's even going to take a whole year because, as I said, I'm already a fifth of the way done. I already know how this whole story is going to go. The fun part is I don't have the third one completely planned out yet. I have vibes. The third one's still in the vibes stage, but I'm sure it's going to come to me. And the good part is that because each book is inspired by a different story in the fantasy genre, I have a jumping off point. So there's already something there, like a scaffolding to build on. And that's what helps. Like it's already got some bones. So there's already some like seeds. I don't know. There's so many metaphors to grow it on. So I've already got, I have the overarching plot already like planned out, or at least the end game of like where it's heading to. And if you have that, it's so much easier to plan. I wrote like the last thing I wrote in this book was a conversation. I was like, I know how it begins, I know where it ends. So I wrote the beginning, I wrote mumblefuck, and then I wrote the end. I didn't actually write that, but I wrote like where I wanted to get to, and I was just going to move on, and then I was like, wait a second, I know how to get it to the end of the conversation, and then I just started writing. I was like, okay, well that was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Huh.
Do
All right.
you ever do the bracket, remind yourself to do something later, end bracket? Like
Oh
bracket,
yeah.
insert, like look up
Mm-hmm.
that thing here, or like bracket, the conversation goes here. And like I think I've recently seen some people experience and have an out of body experience when they go through their manuscript for the first time after finishing the draft, only to find that they had like an open close bracket that they never addressed that was like, put the fight scene
Oh
here.
no.
And they were
That
like
I haven't done.
their soul left their body. uh
Oh.
because like it yeah, I do that
Oh no.
very occasionally. Usually what I'll do, and like on a my general goal
Go.
is to write 500 words a day if I can.
Mm-hmm.
And some days it's more, some days it's less. Some days I get to go to the coffee shop and I caffeinate to all hell and I write 3,500 words like this past weekend. And then I don't write for 2 days because I'm too busy doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes at the end of my sessions, especially if I'm like not really feeling it, but I kind of know where it might go, I'll be like, bracket, and this is where this is going next. And so like I don't tend to leave them in there because I'll like take them out. And the next time I start writing, I'll start from that point. But like I definitely have had a couple like, oh crap, I didn't take out that thing.
Hmm. I don't think I've had that happen yet. I
Mm,
definitely put in brackets for like, write this thing later. But I'm such a planner. Like I'll remember they're there and they'll haunt me.
mm.
So I'll like the brackets will like float in my mind for days of just like I know it's there. I know I got to write it. I know it's sitting there waiting. It's waiting for me like a hungry shark that hasn't seen a seal in days. Like, yeah, I know I got to go back to it. I know that I will write it later.
So I feel like we've got another like 10-ish minutes in us.
Yeah,
Because I think we were going to go for like an hour. So it's coming up on
yeah.
10.
Hmm.
One thing I do want to ask, how are you feeling about the reader response to the book so far? How are you feeling about the reviews that you've gotten?
It's about what I expected, actually, which is weird. Maybe I am psychic. Um, there's been a couple of people who were like, "This is great. This is exactly what I was looking for. I saw it was inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and it totally delivered. Like it wasn't derivative. It was a fresh take, and it was just as cozy as advertised." And then there were a couple of people who were like, "Not my cup of tea." Um, and there was one review that was definitely AI generated, and yeah, like you either love it or you hate it or you think it's okay. Like it's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. I don't know if I want to read all the reviews because I don't like it when people say mean things about me. But so I'm just kind of like, am I gonna be okay reading reviews? I don't know.
So let's
I
talk
don't
about
know.
that. Some people, some authors religiously do not read reviews.
Mm-hmm.
They put their book out into the world, and then they never look at a review site for the rest of their lives. Um,
That might be healthy.
it could be, but then you have some authors who can't help but look at our reviews, uh, because number one, I need the dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, like I like what again, this gets back to why do we publish? Like forget why do we write? Why do we publish? And I publish because
Mm.
I want people to read my story. More importantly, I
Mm-hmm.
really do want people to enjoy my stories. So, and for the record, I've got technically I've got 5 books out right now. So at this point,
Mm.
if I couldn't handle seeing some mediocre reviews, I don't think I'd have survived by now.
Yeah.
So like for me, I've had my litmus test, and it's come up with a pH that's capable of handling reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't for everybody. But again, like if you're in it for your audience to enjoy your books, how do you know if your audience is enjoying your books if you don't see what they're writing about your books? And also
Right.
some people will have like a gem of constructive criticism that
That's true.
you may or may not want to consider. But also
Hmm,
you can always ask friends to check out Goodreads for you and tell you if anything good, bad, or otherwise has come up,
that's true.
because we all have anxiety, and I understand not wanting to do that. But I'm glad that, like, so far the feedback has been what you might have expected. Have you heard
Hmm.
anything that really like tickled you in a way that you weren't expecting? Something that someone loved that you were like, yes.
Um, Not in any of the reviews I read, but the person I talked to this afternoon was like the relationship between Alice and Sarah was so real and so touching. And like you could really tell like it just felt like a real relationship. And he said, just the way that Alice missed Sarah and the way that she talked about her and just missing watching bad movies with her and eating popcorn and just those little everyday moments. And that's what you miss when someone's gone. And I'm like, cuz I mean, I don't want the book to be a bummer and it's not, but it is like it's a contemplation on death and it's about accepting death and it's like I didn't really have a story to tell until I actually lost two friends named Sarah. One who the book is pretty directly based on, and another who, like, that's the reason I started writing. She died very suddenly. She had type 1 diabetes. There was a problem with her insulin, and she just very very suddenly passed away. And she had so many friends, and her funeral was standing room only, and there was not time for everyone to speak. And it just seeing all of the people who her life touched, um, and that was just like I need to write a story that encapsulates that feeling of just that person that you that just touched your life so much. And he said you feel that in the book, you just feel that life that just changed yours, like, and I am just so happy that that came through in the story. Just that's what I wanted to capture, but no one had yet said anything about it. And that just made me really happy that at least one other person read it and said, "Yeah, that's what I felt on reading this. I felt like, you know, that that person was so important and so important to so many people and you just really get that." And that's part of why he couldn't put it down. That's awesome. That because that's exactly what I want people to feel when they read it. I want them to feel like they knew Sarah and like they will miss her now that she's gone. So it
I
made me really happy. I'm sorry I'm getting choked up because I miss both Sarahs so much. They were great people.
No, that's okay. And yes, yeah, A, yes, they were. And B, I will agree with that sentiment. I think that the relationship between Alice and Sarah absolutely comes through. Um, and I think you did a fantastic job encapsulating those relationships. And it does read as very real. That's one of the things about your writing that I enjoy, is that the
Mm,
characters are people. They're not caricatures. They're
hmm.
not archetypes.
Oh, good.
They're I think that they're very well fleshed out, but in a way that makes them
Oh,
relatable and real. So I would agree with your reader that that comes through.
that's great because that was like that's one of my biggest fears was like, are these people just gonna feel like yeah, like archetypes, like caricatures, like I want everybody to feel real, even the weird creatures in the goblin market. I want every single one of them to feel like somebody real. I want Manny to feel real. I want everyone to love Manny.
I
Even though
think
she's
ev-
insane.
no, everyone loves Manny because she's insane. Um,
If you read the book, you will meet Manny, and yeah, I want Manny to be everyone's secret favorite character.
I think
I'm not going to tell anybody who that is.
No, but that's a very realistic goal.
Because Manny's my secret favorite character.
I
Uh,
I feel like everyone for most books, and especially books that feature any kind of sidekick,
mhm.
because to let's be honest with ourselves, Manny's a sidekick.
Yeah. Don't tell her that. She will stab
Oh,
you.
she will fuck me up
She
if I
will.
say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but she's a sidekick, and
Oh, she'd be
everyone
so mad.
loves a sidekick. Like
Yep.
like the raccoon in my book is
Mhm.
literally everyone's favorite character, even though he doesn't say a single word.
Mm.
Because he's the sidekick. He's just furry. Yours is just magical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very realistic that Manny will be everyone's favorite character secretly. Secretly.
Yeah. I think so. There's going to be a different sidekick in the second book.
Hmm.
Actually, might be a couple sidekicks in the second book. How it's working out, but
A
Manny's
book
got to make an appearance.
made of nothing but sidekicks. A book, it's sidekicks all the way down.
If it's going to follow the naming convention of a blank of blank, it's just going to be an abundance of sidekicks.
A box of mac and cheese. Yeah.
A box of mac and cheese.
All right. So
Yep.
it's just about 10 o'clock. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before I ask you to tell folks where to find you and your books, book 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 in different formats?
I don't know. I think this is going to be the night I find out what muscle relaxers do to me. I just got a new prescription.
There you go.
My
All right. So
back hurts.
before you go enjoy some relaxation through better living through pharmaceuticals,
Hmm.
um, just tell folks where to find you and then also where to find your book.
Um. Okay. Where to find me? I have a website. If you go to my profile, I have a link tree. So that's the easiest thing. You find my profile, just go there. Link tree. All the links are there. But if you want to do a search, my name, which is hard to spell, and I have to spell to everybody, Laurie Neilsen. I'm at author.laurienielsen.com. No, is it author slash? See, that's why I don't tell people. That's why I have a link tree. Now I have to look it up. What's my website?
It's
Is it author dot
author dot.
author dot laurienielsen.com, and everything's there. And I'm on Amazon. There's like so many books called Down the Rabbit Hole. The journey to naming this book was also weird. So you can just search by my name and you'll find my book there because there's only one me, and there's a whole lot of books called Down the Rabbit Hole, but there's only one Laurie Nielsen spelled like that. And yeah. All right. Okay. So yeah, author.laurienielsen.com. No dots between the Laurie and Nielsen. And everything's there. And oh, I didn't update it. I didn't update it today. It still says the book is coming soon.
I
Okay.
I think that banner will go away soon.
So tired. That banner will go away soon that
I think
says that it's
so.
coming soon, and it'll say now available. And thank you everyone who stuck around and watched this. Thank you everyone
Yeah.
who's watching this yet later on YouTube. And I just need to take out the words almost and pre-order. The words almost and pre, because it's
So
here.
this book,
This book.
Down the Rabbit Hole, Liminal Spaces, Book One, by Laurie Neilsen, debut author, currently at least 4 stars on Goodreads. Which, Goodreads being a trash fire, that is great.
Yep.
Congratulations on your new release. Good luck,
Thank you.
and we will support you through your writing of book 2. And thanks for coming and coming online and talking with me.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see you later.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. And a special thanks to Lenicia and Kara and Kat for being here for as long as you did. I know some of them have dropped off, but that's okay. So thanks to everyone for joining, and good night.
Bye.